Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody who's, I guess, watching this live. And I think this is being taped for posterity. My name is Isaac Barone. I'm a councilman from the city of North Vegas, and I'm doing the introduction here. I wanted to welcome everybody here to the very generous host, Juan's Flaming Fajitas. There's two of them. There's one in North Vegas and the one here in beautiful downtown Henderson. To begin with, I don't know if they can hear us, but let's give them a big applause for hosting this. I'll have to thank Juan personally. I think, that must be their new slogan. I would charge them for that. And before I go any further, also, we should thank our generous sponsors, Miss Stacy Phillips, candidate for the U.S. Senate. Stephanie Phillips. I don't have my glasses on. Please forgive me. And Ron Quince. Now, I guess at this point, we should go ahead and start the invocation that will be led by George Chahad. Is that, or Chahadi?
Perfect.
Oh, okay. I'll turn it over to you. Shall we rise?
Yes, let's stand. Before I say the prayer, I'd like to say that I'm really grateful that Steve always has these invocations at these events, and that we could always look to God for wisdom and strength and encouragement and good times and tough times. So let's pray. Lord God, we stand here today in honor of those who have served and continue to serve our country. We are eternally grateful for their courage, their strength, and their dedication to protecting our freedoms. We recognize the unique challenges that veterans face, so we pray fervently for all veterans, and we lift up the work of organizations like Veterans in Politics that support them. We ask, Lord, for your blessings on today's interviews for the seat of Henderson City Council Ward 1. We are thankful for the candidates and all that are here that have taken from their time to be present and participate. We ask you to give these candidates a wise mind and a genuine heart to make a real difference in their political ambitions for this office and the responsibilities that come with it. Father, through your guiding hand, please put the right person to serve this ward and our city, the one who will champion freedom, do what's right, and defend our Constitution. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
What's next? Is anyone going to say the pledge?
All of them.
Who's that? Who's leading the pledge? Ah, okay.
Thank you so much. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so very much. All right, I guess at this point we can all be seated. Now, I would really like to thank at this point the Veterans in Politics, their board, and for putting this event together. You know, I'll be honest, I don't get out here to Henderson very often, but even in North Vegas, where supposedly we did a poll, and in my last election, I had like 70% name recognition in Ward 1. But here's the good part: when people were asked what I do, only about 28% actually even knew what I did. They knew the name, but they had no idea what the heck I did. That's a problem. I want to thank Veterans in Politics for being one of the forefront organizations for doing grassroots type of events like this that allow the candidates who are going to be making really big issues, right? They're going to be making decisions on really big issues. Guiding a city of 310,000 people, 340,000 people. I guess I'm behind a little bit there, right? And only moving a budget of about $400 or $500 million. Not that, and making, of course, decisions that affect the downtown and the future of one of America's most livable cities. We have to really thank the Henderson forefathers for putting Henderson to this place. And here we have three candidates who are going to be helping guide the city into the future. So thank you very much to Veterans in Politics for putting this event together. And one other thing, thank you for the veterans that make this democratic exchange possible in the first place. A big hand to all our veterans. All right, so we're going to say welcome now to the candidates for their attendance today. They're all here. Mr. Aaron Johnson, candidate here to my left, looking very dapper. Alisha Nilson in the center there, great smile. And Mr. Eddie Hamilton, rocking the cowboy hat, looking pretty cool. And of course, we should thank, it does take some effort to get out here. Let's thank our panel members for the attendance as well. From my left to your right, I have Mr. Frank Friends, the panel member, and I've known him for a little bit. I got to meet Miss Katrine Ivanoff, Miss Fixit. She's the panel member and a former candidate herself. From the city of North Vegas, one of my constituents, Captain Mike Kelly, also a panel member. And Mr. Michael McDonald, who I just met a little bit earlier, a panel member. Thank you all very much. Well, here's how this process is going to work today. I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't see where it said panel member. From the city of one of our finest from the city of North Las Vegas, our retired Lieutenant Leonard Cardinale, a panel member, and of course, longtime member, and Mr. James Jonas, the VIPI director. So let's give them a big hand, a big round of applause. And just so I'm not going to butcher her name this time again. Miss Stephanie Phillips, who is the sponsor. So thank you very much. And guys, thank you. I didn't see the names back there. So we have 6 panelists.
One more sponsor, Ron Quince.
Ron Quince. I will. Is he here? Oh, is that you? You're Ron Quince? Wait, hey, stand up a second. They can see you in the back. There we go. I am so sorry. I didn't see you before. You snuck in. Well, hey, he's here. Thank you very much for your sponsorship again. This is the way democracy works in our country, right? We have people who are willing to put their money where their mouth is to make, the public know, let them know who our people are, who are vying to really serve our communities. Okay, so here's how this process will work today for the interview period. First, the panel members will get 30 seconds to introduce themselves. Okay, each candidate will then be given 2 minutes to introduce themselves. Please include why you are running and why are you seeking the endorsement of Veterans in Politics International. I'll give you some time to make the notes if you like. Again, you have 2 minutes to introduce yourselves and include why you're running and why you're seeking the endorsement of Veterans in Politics International. And I'll just put this out there. They've endorsed me on numerous occasions, so thanks to VIPI. And I won my last election at 66%. Not that anyone's counting, so maybe it counted for something, okay? So this one counts. Now, candidates, when you receive a question from a panel member, you will be given 2 minutes to answer their question. Ms. Phillips will be the timekeeper. Once you receive the yellow card, you'll be given 15 seconds to end your response. When the red light comes on, you're done. Are we clear? Yeah. Hey, sometimes we play fast and loose, but in this case, we want to keep. We want to be a little bit strict. We want to keep everyone at an even keel. Okay. Candidates, please remember that this is an interview, not a debate. So you cannot ask questions of the other candidates. Okay, and I think that's pretty fair. Panel members, you will not be able to ask follow-up questions. If a candidate didn't answer your question, just take note, and we will discuss that when we vote. Well, when you guys vote. I don't think I'm a voting member on that one. The candidates that will then be given 3 minutes for a closing statement. Another 3 minutes for closing statements. Stephanie Phillips, again, will be the timekeeper. Once you receive the yellow card, you'll be given 15 seconds to end your response. And please, when she gives you the red card, that's the end. Are there any questions from our candidates? What a diverse set of candidates. You guys cannot be any more different than the other here, right? This is great. I can't wait. Do we have any questions from our panel members? All right. Well, I guess let's go ahead and begin. Oh, we're having a hand in the back. Yes. Are you guys? I guess there's other candidates, but maybe they didn't make it. 7. Well, hey, just take note. These are the 3 that decided to go ahead and take their time out to try to reach some of the constituents. Keep that in mind. The 3 good amigos there, yes. And of course, I'm sure that an invitation did go out to other candidates, but if they didn't see fit to come out here, just keep that in mind. I would like to just throw that out there. If they didn't see fit to come out here, well, maybe they have something else going on that might be more important. But I can't think of anything that's more important than trying to reach constituents. All right, then. So do we have an order? I should go ahead left to right.
No, we just, the panel members.
Well, the panel members. You know what? This time, James, how about we begin with you? That way, I'm not forgetting you guys anymore. And then we'll go to Len, and then Mike can just go this way. No, right to left, right to left.
Okay, so now all the panel members will be given 30 seconds to just do a brief introduction. Councilman Barone already kind of did, but we'll just repeat it. I'm Jim Jonas, Director of Veterans in Politics. I've been involved with Veterans in Politics since 2008.
Good morning. Leonard Cardinelli. I'm a retired 25-year police lieutenant from the city of North Las Vegas. While I was there, I was a president of the Police Supervisors Association and a paid lobbyist for several years. Currently, I'm the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, Local 443 here in Nevada.
My name is Michael McDonald. I'm the president of the nonprofit Family Unification Alliance. I used to work for the city of Las Vegas in business licensing and planning. I also do a lot of business liaison work and grant writing and nonprofits management.
We're getting to share this mic. My name is Mikey Kelly. I am the state director for the DNC Veterans and Military Families Council and the chair of the Nevada Democratic Veterans and Military Families Caucus, as well as the chair of the North Las Vegas Veterans Community Commission.
Hi, my name is Katrina Ivanov, aka Mrs. Fix-It. Everybody has so many titles and I feel naked, so I'm the queen of my house. And I can fix things. Joke aside, I did run for Assembly District 42, and it was an enlightening experience, so I know where you guys been, and I would try to do my questions from that point of view. Thank you to Veterans in Politics for giving me this opportunity, and thank you for the candidates that made it so it fit that we were worthy enough to come in and do that interview. Thank you.
My name is Frank Friends. I'm a father, a family court activist, and a weapons trainer.
Fantastic. And maybe I should just introduce myself again. People in North Las Vegas might know who I am, but you don't. I'm Councilman Isaac Barone. I've been a member of the North Las Vegas City Council representing Ward 1, and I've been a mayor pro tem since 2013. But my main job, I'm still a high school teacher, and this is my 28th year teaching. And I've been at Rancho High School for now 27 years, the place where I grew up from. And my grandpa used to live down the street over here in downtown Henderson on Mojave. So it's nice to be back here in your stomping grounds. All right, then. So let's go ahead. Let's meet the candidates. I'm going to go ahead and should we go ladies first? Let's do ladies first, right?
Thank you very much. My name is Alisha Nilson, and I am a candidate for the City of Henderson, Ward 1 position that just recently opened up. I was born and raised here in Henderson, and this is my home, sweet home. I've seen a lot of change and a lot of things happen over the years. And as time has progressed, I feel like the people's voice has become less and less heard, and that we're not getting the attention we deserve, that our concerns, that our desires, that our ideas are being washed away by those who are in positions of power and by those who donate and are so heavily involved with their campaigns and with their lives. So why I'm running is because I desperately need the city of Henderson to continue to grow in a safe, prosperous, and beautiful manner. I've got 3 children of my own at home. My husband owns a small business here in Henderson. My father owns a small business in Henderson. My mother is a teacher here at Mannion Middle School in Henderson. So I need to make sure that we have all of the things that we so desperately need so that we can remain a safe and prosperous and beautiful city. I'm seeking endorsement from the Veterans in Politics because, again, you guys are such a valuable part of our constituency. You guys have seen so many things, and you guys work so hard and are so deeply rooted and in touch with the community that having your guys' support would be able to persuade and to let the other candidates that I need to be in touch with and need to hear their voices know that I will come, I will make the time, that I see how important they are, and that I am happy to listen to them and to help solve the problems that they face.
And thank you very much, Ms. Nilson. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that our timekeeper, she'll give me the signal when she's ready for the next person. How's that? And I guess that means she's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the left, right? They always say that if you're being followed, you should make 3 rights to check to see if you're actually being followed. But in this case, I'm going to break that and go to the left. So Mr. Aaron Johnson will be next.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Aaron Johnson. I, too, am a candidate for Henderson City Council, Ward 1. I am a husband of a beautiful wife, my wife, Shelly, a father of 2 twin boys. I am the police commander in Boulder City, Nevada, just right outside of Henderson here. I am a graduate of the FBI National Academy. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, a master's degree in public administration, a graduate certificate in criminal justice education. I am a veteran Marine. Hoorah! Any Marines out there? Steve? Hi. Hoorah! Hoorah! Thank you. I started in this race with a text message from a friend at the Henderson Police Department saying that they weren't really pleased with the candidates that they saw that were coming to light at the time, and asked if I would participate in this campaign. I gladly did so with the permission of my employers and my spouse, who agreed to be part of this with me. I focusing heavily on public safety. Our police department is sorely understaffed. Our fire department is sorely understaffed, and it's taking a toll on all of them. And how that translates to quality of life issues in the city of Henderson is a tenet. So that is really my push right now. I am focusing on responsible growth in the city. I think we have grown too rapidly and did not marry our services in line with the city's growth. And I'll tell you, why am I seeking the endorsement of Veterans in Politics? This was the first group I reached out to when I started my campaign. I reached out to Steve and I said, before anybody else, Republicans, Democrats, this was the group I would get to, because there needs to be more veterans in politics, and I am the only veteran in this race. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. To my right will be the final candidate to introduce himself, Mr. Eddie Hamilton.
Good morning. Buenos dias. This is not my first rodeo. I want to thank the Veterans in Politics because you guys are the pillar of the community. I've always showed up for your endorsement interview. So this time, hopefully, I'll be successful. Again, Eddie Hamilton. Now, there's 7 of us running. Just in case people got confused, Hamilton is on the $10 bill. So remember, just think of the $10 bill. I am different than the rest of the candidates, okay? And I'm proud of that. I live about a few minutes away from here. This is not my first rodeo, like I said. I ran before. I was endorsed by the Review Journal, and I came in second with 27% of the vote among 4 people running. My slogan is, no Henderson ward left behind. Remember, no child left behind? no Henderson were left behind. And the second theme is rage against the HOAs. This is what I got from the community. Now, this is different this year. In the past, it was citywide. So people on the other side will pick who represent us. Now this is different. The voters changed that. Ward 1 is the most neglected ward. Very little development. I want to build for veterans. For example, I want to change the zoning board to make tall buildings allowable. Maybe have a 500 square feet dormitory type. People are working in Henderson, but they live in North Las Vegas. Good for you, but it's too far away from them. So I'm different than the rest, and we'll talk about it. I want to make Henderson the #1 safest city, not just the second. Thank you.
All right. Well, fantastic. We're doing pretty well here. Okay, so I guess at this point we go for questions from the panel. Do we have a set order? Anyone like to go?
I'll start first, and then you guys can decide amongst yourselves.
Okay, sounds fantastic.
Okay.
Hey, Frank wants to go second. Do we have anyone did for third? Lenny will go third. The captain will go fourth, and then I'll let you guys fight it out for that last and follow up. Okay, fantastic. You want to go? The woman will have the last word. That works for me. If it works for everybody else, Ms. Jonas.
Hi, this question is going to be for all three of the candidates, and what I'll do is the order in which we want them answered, like I'll do Aaron first, and then we'll move to the right. Okay, when I was looking up you guys' campaign stances, all three of you said you were in favor of splitting up the Clark County School District and creating the Henderson to have its own school district. What I want to do, I'm going to keep it pretty simple, but I would like an explanation from each one of you of exactly how you're going to pay for that. The city of Henderson has a $161 million budget. It's forecasted to be $90 million in debt next year. So how are you going to pay for hire a superintendent, a new school board, busing, rezoning the city of Henderson? What is your plans on how exactly you're going to pay for that plan? I'll start with you, Mr. Johnson.
Well, the funding for schools comes from the state. So the initiative needs to be, first off, addressed at the local level, saying, hey, this is something that we want to do. We want to take over our own school district. And then it has to be proposed to the state in order for the state to then say that the school district in Clark County needs to be broken up. They will continue to distribute the money as they do to Clark County School District, but it will be in several different factions. I can understand the concerns about having another, multiple superintendents, multiple school boards. But for me, the idea of having a smaller ward or a smaller school district gives the opportunity to the residents of that area to have more impact on how their children are being taught, how their children are getting to school, which schools their children can go to. We're just a speck at the Clark County School District. It's such a massive, massive organization. There are more employees in the Clark County School District than there are in Ward 1. So, I mean, it's alarming the size of the Clark County School District. Whether you want to break it up or not, how it's going to be funded, we have to agree on the fact that it's a broken system. We're 49th out of 50 in the U.S. in terms of education, and something has to change.
Allie, you want to take the next one?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for that question. Like I said, my mother is a 6th grade teacher up at Mannion Middle School, and I have 3 beautiful young children who are all in elementary school as of next year. So the budget is actually one of the big reasons why we have historically not split away. I spoke with Jeff Burr. I don't know if many of you are familiar with him, but he used to serve with the commission. And when this was proposed many, many years ago, he came up with a list of the pros, the cons, and to try and figure out how and if we could do this. And ultimately, he came to the decision that we couldn't because he said funding was an issue. Now, recently, for those of you who've been paying attention to our new governor, Governor Lombardo has said that this that our state will now see the biggest increase in finances given to the schools. So ideally, if we could get more funding for each student, then it would be more realistic for us to be able to support superintendents and those more administrative positions while not taking things away and taking pay away or taking time off or adding more children to the classrooms. Now, the other big thing with this that has been brought up is this is just the first part, is making sure we've got that funding. And Toby Urich is one of our assemblymen. He's up there in Carson City now fighting for this. But I have spoken with him, and I am trying to work with him to figure out how and where we can get budget from, where we can get monies from to help pay for this. Because again, my mother is a teacher. When those classrooms get so large, and they are, because again, teaching is a profession that's not very sought after right now, we've got to be able to get teachers in the classroom and to help solve those problems. So thank you.
Okay, Eddie, you want to go for it?
Yeah, first of all, just a correction. I'm not in favor of the breakup of the CCSD. I'm in favor of Henderson seceding from it. North Las Vegas, Florida, everybody else can stay there. I believe in democracy. Okay, I'm not trying to break up anybody's school, but I want Henderson to secede, to be our own. About cost, you know that running a public school is twice as much as running a private school. You know that, right? That's the facts of life. In Henderson, I want to focus on charter school choice. We can do better. We can do it cheaper with better teachers. That's what my philosophy is. Funding is important, but school choice, the way school is run, I don't think the superintendent here will be making $500,000. Not going to let it happen. You know, and charter school, they make a lot less money than that. We've got the Green Valley High School, which is one of the top in the country. So what I'm saying is that seceding is not bad, and we can do it here in Henderson. And the Henderson budget, depending on how you look at it, is $300 million, $500 million. We got a lot of grants. I am absolutely against increase in property taxes. We got money coming in to Henderson like crazy. Development of the Raiders, right? By M Resort. So we got plenty of money here. But my focus again, remember, no child left behind, no ward left behind. Our ward number 1 here is a stepchild. We are the least affluent, the most neglected ward in the city of Henderson. I want to make it better. I want to have affordable housing for veterans and for senior citizens. We can do it. We can build tall buildings. We go up instead of spreading out. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So moving right along, I believe Mr. Friends wanted to be second. So Mr. Friends?
So statistically, you guys all speak about safety and things like that. But the safest, most law-abiding group in America, even more so than police officers, is CCW holders. They're less likely to commit crimes, less likely to get involved in anything like that. But their freedoms are always being infringed upon. Whether it's the ATF trying to legislate from there, talking about bump stocks or binary triggers or the new thing that they're passing now. You also have private businesses that say your Second Amendment ends at my door entry. With that being said, you have the power to write ordinance and things like that. If a CCW holder can be sued for shooting somebody in self-defense, why can't a business be sued for stopping them from being able to defend their life or the life of another person by not allowing them their Second Amendment right when they step through their door? Is that something you would look into or something you would write legislation on about you are accountable for allowing this catastrophic event to occur and this person not allowed to protect themselves under the Second Amendment? Aaron?
So no, I would not seek legislation to support any business owner for not allowing to exercise their right to prohibit activities in their business. It's like anybody else's private entity. I would suggest I wouldn't patronize the store. That would be my response to that. Is if they're not allowing me to carry a firearm, which is my constitutional guarantee to do, into their place of business, I'll find one that does support those things. But to sit there and say that I'm willing to write some sort of legislation and force them to allow me to do what I want to do, to them, that doesn't.
Not force, but allow the patron to sue them if something happens, because now they're liable for not letting them carry a weapon in there.
Oh, I don't know. I've never considered that. That's an interesting question. That's something I think maybe we can visit down the road, you and I. But as of right now, that's not on my radar. And I'm sorry I misunderstood your question. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, Frank, for your question. I appreciate that. I love it because my husband owns a small business and we teach classes to offer CCWs. And so that is something that's very near and dear to my heart. And like you said, there's been a lot of legislation and a lot of things going on right now. In fact, Dina Titus from Nevada is currently looking at putting more bills in to try and decrease the rights that law-abiding citizens have when it comes to their CCWs and their firearms. Now, that being said, I agree with Aaron in not going after a business and putting legislation in that specifically allows an individual to sue a company for not being protected while they're there. And the reason being is we, as adults, make informed decisions. Hopefully we make informed decisions. Hopefully that's why a lot of you are watching, is to become informed on our stances. Now, if I, as a mother, a parent, as an individual, decide to go to an organization or to a company that says you're not allowed to have firearms, then that's me knowing what the rules are and still entering and taking that risk, right? We all know that historically the places that are targeted for crimes are places that do not allow CCW carriers and people to carry concealed on their premises. So that would be something, like Aaron said, that I would consider as an individual as possibly not patroning those. Now, when it comes to the government, if I'm going someplace where the government does not allow, absolutely there should be security in place. We're talking schools, we're talking post offices, we're talking city hall. So if I'm going to go to a place that is controlled by the government, I do feel that it's the government's responsibility to keep us safe. So there is that. However, it's a completely different fight when you're going after the government as opposed to a small business.
Let me, as your councilman, I'll promise you one thing. I support the Second Amendment 100%. We don't write legislation, we write ordinance. I will not support any ordinance that would limit the Second Amendment right of citizen, business, whatever. The other thing is we have an issue right now. We don't have a chief of police. Okay, there was a big conflict between union and management. You cannot have a good city with law enforcement if you got a conflict between union and management. So we have no chief of police. I've made my position clear. We cannot pick the new chief of police until the council is fully seated. I know some people are rushing to appoint someone. I want a chief of police who is tough on crime. And secondly, knowledgeable about social justice. You got to accept America the way it is now. You cannot do a heavy-handed treatment of citizens. You must have someone who knows about social justice, as well as someone, a chief of police, that understands the Second Amendment. We can do that. The chief of police is reporting to the city manager. The city manager reports to the council. 3 people: city attorney, city manager, and clerk. Okay, so we can control that. We can have a good police department. People are saying Henderson is the second best. I'm not happy with that. I want to be the first, the safest city of its size in America. And to do that, you got to have a smart chief of police. Someone who knows social justice, law enforcement, and the Constitution. Thank you.
Wow. Hey, pretty good answers there. So thank you very much. That was a great question, Mr. Franz. Let's go to Lieutenant Cardinale.
Thank you. I think everyone can agree that workers' compensation rights in Nevada are a mess. Currently, I have several constituents who are injured police officers, both retired and currently employed. A good friend of mine, Will Crespo, was honorably discharged from the military after serving 4 years as a retired police lieutenant from North Las Vegas after retiring with honor after 25 years of service to the citizens. Will is permanently totally disabled because of a heart issue that was due to his job as a police officer and diagnosed by a doctor. The city of North Las Vegas has been ordered by a judge more than once to pay his claim. This battle has been going on for almost 4 years, and the city has decided to hide behind a third-party administrator who misuses the law and refuses to pay his claim. Neither the mayor or city council will get involved and stand up for the rights of a military veteran and a retired police lieutenant. If you are elected to the Henderson City Council, do you believe you'll have the fortitude and moral character to defend the rights of military veterans and retired police? We can start with Mr. Hamilton.
Yes, the answer is absolutely yes.
I love your question. Again, my background currently is in healthcare. I work at True Physical Therapy, and I have had to deal on numerous occasions for my husband, for close friends and family who are police officers with the city of Henderson, to deal with these worker compensation cases. And in the physical therapy world, we do have to deal with the long-term disability and with all of the paperwork that has to be filed for people to receive that. I will tell you, nothing bothers me more than not giving credit where credit is due. And if we have any city employees, not just veterans, not just police, not just fire, but I mean absolutely any and every city employee, if something happens with them and it is a work-related injury that they've received on the job or because of the job, 1,000,000%. If they have put their time and energy into serving me, into serving you, and into serving our community, then at the very least, we owe them what they deserve for the duties that they've done, especially if we as a city are the reason that they are injured. So 100%, I would stand behind it. I have stood behind it 1,000,000 times before in the healthcare field itself. So absolutely, you have my support. And if you need any help, I would happily refer you to some of the attorneys that I know who are phenomenal dealing with workers' compensation cases.
Thank you for that answer.
Great. That's fantastic, Ali. I'm not going to wait until I'm on council. I was up in Toby Urick's office just this last Thursday talking about this very issue. Workman's comp in the state of Nevada is broken. It is absolutely broken, and we talked about this just last Thursday in his office, and I was up there with Beth Schmidt from Metro's Intergovernmental Relations talking about this. Toby was telling me he has about 250 to 275 heart and lung cases in his office right now. And it is because these third-party providers have a clause that they wrote into the law that said there is, what do they call it? No bad faith, right? They can literally tell you no, 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 no. Pay it, no, 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 and you cannot sue them. You cannot go after them because the legislator has put in this action that says they cannot be sued for bad faith claims. So that's one of the things they're working on right now. There is a Senate bill coming up that tries to remove or strip that bad faith clause out of there. It's the only claim that can be done is through workman's comp that can be denied and denied and denied, even though you're showing that there's a probability. My employees happen to this all the time. We had an employee have a heart attack on duty. They said no. The doctor said yes. But is it really a cardiac event? Was the next question. I mean, everything they could do to turn this around. So I'm not waiting to get on council. I've already had these conversations. We'll continue to do so. So my response to you is yes, I will.
Can I make a follow-up response?
Actually, we said there would be no follow-up questions. If a candidate didn't answer your question, just take notes and you can discuss that.
Well,
when
it's
you vote.
not that he didn't answer it, but thank you and I know they're doing the best they can. But the question was, as a council person, you choose the third-party administrator that blocks these claims. That's what I was asking. But thank you.
All righty. Let's move on. I think that number 4 was Captain Kelly.
First of all, thank you for running for office. That's a sacrifice in and of itself to run. So thank you so very much for throwing your hats in the ring. The question I have, and it's kind of has to do with the education piece. It's not the responsibility of a city council to deal with education. That's specifically tasked to either the school district or the charter school authority or the Department of Education. But there are things that city councils can do to assist. One of the things these children, what our teachers and children are dealing with, they have children, let's say with this, these children spend the majority of their days not in the school, but in the community. So they're dealing with issues relating homelessness, mental health issues, abuse, and many of those issues, or lack of recreation. Many of the issues that the kids are dealing with every single day are issues that the city can provide, such as hiring social workers and therapists and putting them in libraries and community centers, making sure that there are mental health resources, as well as ensuring ending homelessness and working to build affordable housing. My question to all of you is, putting aside, you're not going to get rid of the school district. That's not even your jurisdiction. You're not going to interfere directly with education. That's not your jurisdiction. What can you do about the issues that you actually do have an impact on? Homelessness, affordable housing, mental health, community recreation, cultural activities such as museums.
Okay, do we have a volunteer to begin? If not, we'll go left to right again.
Thank you for the question. And as I said before, Ward 1 is the least affluent, is the most neglected ward because we are the oldest section. Downtown area, many lower income folks, all the problems you mentioned are present here. So I am going to be the champion of Ward 1. Up until this time, everybody running is always developing, and I support development on the other side of Henderson. But we have, for example, if we want to go to Whole Food or something, or some other upscale restaurant, we have to go out west 30 miles. So the Planning Commission is responsible for zoning of all the areas. I support free lunches for all children, regardless of income. Okay, soon it's going to be expiring, but I support that one. We'll find a way. Homelessness, you're right. Over half of the homelessness situation is related to mental health. Whatever we can, we got to provide help. For veterans, like I said, I want to, build more homes. Maybe a dormitory style, which is anathema to a lot of people. But in our ward here, this is the downtown. Remember, the downtown can have high density type of thing. We can be different. This area here used to be a ghost town 15 years ago. Now it's developing. And I want to focus on that. I want to bring more money here through the Planning Commission, through zoning. We can make this place better for lower income folks. Okay, for veterans, for students, for people working with the Amazon thing. They can't afford living here. They live someplace else. So I support social services as a council person. Thank you.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much for that question. Again, I'm sure it doesn't surprise you at all how near and dear stuff like this is to my heart, especially with as involved as I am in the community. So a big thing is we know that the government typically can't fix problems, right? They're not necessarily the best at coming in and seeing a problem and actually fixing it. So in my experience with working with my mom at schools, I serve on the City of Henderson's Park and Recreation Board. We need to reach out, and a lot of these private businesses, a lot of these nonprofit companies are more than willing and more than happy to offer their expertise. I have pitched this to the city, and I've pitched this to several other people. I would actually love to see our community work with and collaborate with our local colleges. We've got many medical facilities, many medical colleges here in Henderson and here in the Las Vegas Valley. I would love to see us partner with them in order to give their mental health professionals and students studying to become mental health professionals the opportunity to work with the public to help us solve a lot of these problems. Going back to my notes. So with the City of Henderson, I know you talked about hiring social workers and things like that to put in at the parks and rec centers and throughout the valley. The City of Henderson, while that is not currently available to the general public, has actually looked into and is in the process of trying to bring professionals like that into the city to work with our city employees. One of the very staggering and sad things we've seen is the mental health decline in our children. We saw a lot of that came about and was emphasized with COVID. So if we can get this mental health available to everybody, then it's going to benefit the city, which is why so many individuals and private companies would be happy to help, as it would help their economy as well. So hope that answers your question.
That's a lot, Mikey. Thanks. Big question. I think for sure that every Safe Key program that we can fund and that we can provide at multiple rec centers across Henderson is key, and that tutoring is available for every single one of those students at Safe Key, not just a place where they can recreate and those types of things. But if my kid is going to Safe Key and I want them to get some tutoring or something like that because they need after school math and I'm at work, then those types of things we can do, and we can support that. And I fully support that. I mean, that's an idea that I've been brewing for a while, is how can we get after school tutoring to some of the kids, because this learning doesn't stop at the end of the school day. It continues on, and it continues on in the home. And how can we get those resources to those kids? When it deals with homelessness or those that are experiencing homelessness, to me that is a consequence of some other issues, addiction being one of them, mental illness being another. We have a problem with our some homeless issues down here in Ward 1, right here on Water Street, but it doesn't help that we have our central booking right down here at the end of the street. If any of you guys need to take a tour of that facility, go in there and see that at least half of it right now is filled with mentally ill tenants. That is not where they belong. That is not where they belong. That is not a place for them. We don't have resources like that here in Henderson. But there are resources available for those experiencing homelessness, mental illness, and stuff like that in Clark County. And we need to get them to those resources until we can find resources for them here in Henderson. There are local groups like Hope Link and the Courtyard in Las Vegas that receive funding for those types of things. And the last thing I want to talk about is the link between after-school care and youth. And one of the things we've been working with the NFL Alumni Association and Nevada State College, and them drawing an athletic program for K through 12. They're going to attract K through 12 on that campus. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to our our fifth moderator, which is, of course, Mr. Michael McDonald.
Thank you, candidates, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come out and be on this endorsement panel. We appreciate your time and you guys being here, and we look forward to making sure that the best candidate wins and gets on the board. So I have a lot of experience with being on working for the city of Las Vegas in business licensing and planning, and there was a lot of challenges with the city of Las Vegas. And according to national statistics, Henderson was one of the most rapidly growing cities out of the whole nation. So with that rapid growth, there's a lot of growth pains. Now, I wanted to just ask the candidates to see one of the big issues is the budgetary requirements that each city has, that they must, if they don't meet that budgetary requirement, they lose the budget for next year. So it increases wasteful spending. Another thing is cutting the red tape for businesses and allowing that growth and allowing new innovation and tech companies to come out. There's a lot of budgets that don't get hit or the cities end up in the red because of mismanagement of funds. So I would like to know what the candidates would do to allow watching of funds and cutting the red tape for allowing business and business growth, and allowing programs such as, the indiscretionary funds for like marijuana taxes or other things for social programs like Mr. Kelly brought up. I believe that the root cause of so many social issues is the breakdown of our family unit or the mental health, the substance abuse. So allowing those funds to be distributed to various nonprofits and programs as well. So what would you as candidates do to make sure that there's oversight on the budget and to be able to address those concerns for the rapidly growing city of Henderson? Thank you.
Mr. Hamilton.
The latest census shows that Ward 1, again, I'm only going to be focus on Ward 1, okay, because I want to promote this most neglected city side of Henderson. We have 81,000 people here, about 53,000 registered voters, going from East Lake Mead down here all the way down to Nevada State University. Pretty soon it's going to be called Nevada State University, not Nevada State College. We've got graduate school there and everything. So I want to focus on the development through the Planning Commission. Up until this point, the Planning Commission is always favoring the west side. Okay, so they got strict rules. You got to have big homes inside. This is the older part. Let's go back to the old American downtown area. I want to build affordable housing here for veterans. You can't bring businesses to your community when you got no place to live for the employees. Okay, so by relaxing the requirement, you can build tall buildings. You can build smaller apartments. You know, maybe a studio, 500 square feet, $500 a month. I'm in favor of that. Now, that's anathema if you go out west. Everybody wants to have fancy home, $1 million home, $500,000. I'm more of the middle class person. I want to focus on lower income folks. I want to help people. So through the Planning Commission, through zoning, we can bring businesses here. A lot of developers want to come, but they got strict rules. You can't build that. You can't build that because you got to have bigger parking lot, you know, a lot of zoning requirements. I want to relax it so we can build a city to be a vibrant city going from East Lake Mead all the way to Boulder City, east of US 95, I-11, 111, to the west at Nevada State. I want to build a downtown in Nevada State, like a college town. Thank you.
Okay, so again, thank you very much for your question. Like I said, my husband is a business owner, so I know and have watched and have seen how money gets spent. I have been attending city council meetings for a long time, and I'm sure that a lot of you who are here know that the things that the city council genuinely has direct control over are zoning and how our budget is spent. So this is a huge thing. One of the things that I think the city, and largely because our council treats this as a part-time job, and for me, it would be a full-time job, is they don't get to delve into exactly what the cost-benefit analysis is and why money gets spent. So our city staff, which I will say is phenomenal, they work so hard, comes up with recommendations on business licensing, on policies, on procedures, and all of that stuff, and they pass it up to the city council. And in general, our city council will go, yep, makes sense, check it off and go, instead of sitting down and asking those big questions, both to the staff and going out to the public and those business owners who they're actually serving, to make sure that this makes sense, to make sure that what we're spending money on and what we're trying to do is genuinely going to improve. Because it's one thing for people who do not have experience in this, for people who do not have finances and businesses, to say, oh, theoretically, this is going to be great. But in the real world, we know that theoretically, there are so many variables that are just simply not taken into account by people who are sitting behind a desk, going over numbers, trying to figure out what is and is not best for the city. So my big thing is, I promise that I will ask those hard questions. I will be actively involved with our community members, both the patrons of businesses and others, to make sure that what we're investing in is actually meeting the needs of our community.
Well, by the time we get on council, the budget's going to be pretty much set. The conversations have been already started. They've already been had. By the time April 3rd and the swearing in is in the middle of April, you're really hitting the tail end of the budget cycle. I truly feel that the department heads and those that are spending the money in the city of Henderson are good stewards with our dollars. So that some of the decisions that are made on council, I question at time to time. But I think overall, the interest of spending the citizens' money is done responsibly. But that's something that I'll take a closer look at and watch more. That document is huge, right? That is something to sit there and take the last 6 weeks of my life and try and navigate through is an arduous task, and still be having the other things going on. So I am told by business developers, business owners that working in Henderson is the best in the Valley. Working with the Planning Commission, working with the zoning, working with the permitting is the best in the Valley, except for the last 12 to 18 months. Gentleman just down the street has his signs on in Wayne Construction, spent an entire day trying to get to one department and kept getting redirected and redirected and redirected. Those are the things that I want to fix. That it seems to be a common occurrence right now, what I'm hearing with business owners and business developers, is that it was great, but something has happened in the last 12 to 18 months. Well, we can make it great again. I have those conversations with Rob Herr, with Public Works Directors Lance Olson, and get some of these issues that is happening down there in zoning, planning, and permitting taken care of.
All right, fantastic. Well, our final panelist question, Ms. Katrin Ivanov, you're going to wrap it up for us.
Okay. The reason I was running is because I don't like what the politicians are doing. And I'm not alone in that. A lot of the politicians, not a lot, the politicians are not, as of right now, we don't have anything to hold accountable politicians. What would you do, and would you do anything to make some kind of an ordinance that people would actually be able to count politicians accountable when they don't do the job we elected them to do? And that goes for three of you, and I will start with the lady.
Okay, so you want to know what we will do in terms of
to keep politicians accountable. If now you promise us to do all these beautiful things, like everybody on the election trail is promising heaven on earth, and once they become elected, they do nothing about it because they're busy running for the next election. For example, right now we have a super fast election. You have almost no time to get in constituents to talk about things and see what the constituents really want, because somebody that was sitting on that seat was allowed to run for election. When I ran for election, I didn't even have time to cook. So I don't know how can you be holding a position, being involved in doing things, and then run for election. So I believe there should be a rule. If you're already holding a position, if you're not running for the same position, you shouldn't be able to run. If you announce you're running for something else, then you denounce that seat. So somebody else have actually the opportunity when the running is going on, when the elections are going on, when people are paying attention, to be able to run for that seat. Those rules need to be changed. And when people promise something on the trail, a lot of people don't know what people are promising and but there are people that are involved. The people that are involved should have some kind of remedy to say, you promised to bring that change. If you are trying to bring it and there are other things that you cannot bring it, that's different. But if you're not even trying, people should be able to say, we need to get rid of you. We elected you within 2 months period. We didn't know much about you. You promised, you didn't do nothing. I don't want to wait 2 years, 4 years, 7 years. You're not doing the job. You need to be out. What kind of policy can you implement to help the constituents actually be really heard?
Yes. So again, that's such a good question. And I feel like that really digs into things because, again, there are lots of things that you guys have asked questions about, such as education, where we recognize I don't have direct control over that. But as a council person, I do have the ear. So in terms of making sure that there is actually something in place to hold me accountable for those things that I've promised, obviously, running for re-election is one of those things. But like you said, there's a huge time frame and a huge gap in that. So I would just say that I would have to look at that and see if there are policies. Because again, we know if we're going to try and rerun or re-elect something, that costs a large amount of money. That's why the city of Henderson historically was doing exclusive appointments. But what I would want to do to try and prevent a council person, what I would do to prevent myself or somebody else from not even trying to fulfill those is, again, making sure that you're connected with the city. Like I said, I was born and raised here. I've got a lot invested in the city, my heart, my mind, my soul, my children. So I need to make sure that the city's open. Like I said, I don't understand why these city council positions are only part-time positions, because as you mentioned, or as one of our panelists had mentioned, this city has grown fast. And at some point, regardless of how well I manage my time as a mother, as a wife, helping my husband with his business, with my actual job, at some point you run out of time to manage, to connect with the people. And if you're not getting paid or getting chastised by the people, then you're not going to do that. And as a side note, your other big thing, and something that that community members have done really well, is you call in news stations. I mean, we had our council was willing to spend a couple $1 million of COVID funds to reface our city hall, which is not what that money was intended for. And the city council was going to move through with it until news got involved. So at this point, your best bet is going with news for accountability of elected officials.
Okay,
Eddie?
Mr. Hamilton.
Sure. Number one, this position should be kept as a part-time position. I'm a conservative. I don't believe in big government. You make politicians full-time, they're going to spend more of your money. They're going to ask for more taxes. So keep it the way it is. Part-time is fine. Now, there is term limits, 12 years. Okay. However, that's not enough. I would write ordinances that would make it easier to recall somebody. Sometimes the establishment, the city, will make it harder from, gathering petition and everything. Recall should be made easier, okay? And recall, now that the voters of Henderson, they've spoken. We're gonna do election by ward, not the whole city electing who should represent me. But my area here will vote for me. So that's good. So we can have recall on a smaller scale. To do a citywide election, it'll cost $500,000 or maybe $1 million. You cut it by 4 times. A recall is one of the solution, okay? And again, the meeting, the city council meeting is only twice a month. Maybe we can make it easier to have an extra meeting to address your concern. If there's a politician who's outrageously bad, maybe we can set up a meeting, a third meeting during the week with citizens coming with pitch and fork, okay? I'm in favor of that. So I believe in democracy and participatory democracy. So that's what we can do to make them accountable, but not to make it a full-time pay. Thank you.
A policy and an ordinance to hold someone accountable, I'm all in favor for. I'm a police officer. I have policy and doctrine that hold me accountable every single day. Does it always work? No. We have bad police officers. We have bad politicians. But to support a policy or an ordinance to hold people accountable, sure, why not? I would say back to this group right here, and I've heard it out of a man in this room right now. If you do not do what you told me you're going to do, I will come after you with a vengeance, he said. A vengeance. And that is truthful. Maybe it's why the other 4 members are not here today seeking your endorsement, because they do not want to be held accountable with a vengeance. So I fully would support something like that. I think policy is there to hold each other accountable. There are already laws that are in place to hold people accountable for ethic violations and things like that. But if I'm going down the path and I've told people like this, call BS. Call me up and said, Aaron, you said you were going to do this and you're not doing this. Why aren't you doing this? And I will take it. I'll take it on the chin and I will move. So just to say, yes, I would support any type of a policy or doctrine that would hold another person accountable.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
James, are we ready for the wrap-up statements by the candidates?
No, we're actually Isaac. We're not done till 1. It's only noon.
Fantastic.
So we'll keep going with questions. And
yeah, this has gone really fast, Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna and this will be to all 3 candidates again, but everybody. You got to be blind not to realize that Lake Mead just keeps getting lower and lower and lower, right? So people are scared. They want to know, are we going to run out of water? Okay. Now, I want to know from all 3 of you, if any of you have met with any representatives at the Southern Nevada Water Authority to discuss their 50-year plan. And if you have or you have not, could one of you bring up to them that if all of our urban use water is being reclaimed and it's all supposedly going back in Lake Mead, then why do the water bills keep going up? I'll start with you, Eddie.
Okay, and as part of the campaign that I have, the rage against the HOAs, I'm absolutely for water conservation. Currently, the HOAs are going crazy. They have thousands of plants and shrubs that needs 3 times watering during the 120-degree thing. We got to reduce that. I'm going to try to rein in the HOAs. For example, 70% of people in Clark County, they live in an HOA-controlled community, which is good because, you want to make sure your property is well kept because there's a big investment. But they also have abuses to the system. And, for example, a lot of HOAs will require each homeowners to have 20 trees, shrubs, and other vegetation. Now, we live in the freaking desert. Okay, if you want to live in a green thing, go back where you came from. Go back to the East Coast and whatnot. But here, we got to conserve water. So I'm in favor of telling the HOAs cut back on the shrubs, trees, and everything. Let's live in the desert. Okay, less watering. You got to prevent the water from being used. Now, you know that the increase in water is because, like you said, the Lake Mead situation. But lately, I think we came up with 10% more water because of the snow situation. But, you can't rely on that. And we got to continue with the control of watering and everything else. So I'm in favor of that. And the city council recently just outlawed for new building, the big swamp coolers, the use of water that cannot be reclaimed. So I'm in favor of that. So that's my position on water conservation. I'm all for that. But you're right about the increasing bill. That's inflation.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you very much for that question, Jim. I know I spoke a little bit about this when I was with you last, but I've been fortunate enough to take some time to go and meet with different officials from the SNWA, along with some development officials as well, regarding the water in the state that our city and our entire state and really our region is in when it comes to water. So according to them, we are good. If you talk to the SNWA officials, they will tell you that we are good, that they've got things in place to allow us to continue drawing water from Lake Mead. Now, their projections are often made, and are in this case made, where they're talking about if everything stays the same, if we don't have any other disasters or temperatures don't change or anything like that, then we're good. So regarding why our bills keep going up because, well, SNWA is the one who ultimately controls the water. So they've got the ability to control prices. Now, infrastructure has had to change. We have had to purchase and make and create new infrastructure, bring in new infrastructure to treat that reclaimed water. So that's another thing that goes towards those bills and that they're saying is a reason why our water bills continue to increase. Something that I brought up and something that I would love to see mentioned, I had said I would love to sit on the water board if I were to be elected to city council. I would love for us to start talking about how we fix the problem. You're never going to be able to conserve ourselves into water prosperity by trying to not use the water. So we have genuinely got to start looking at other places, going up north, going out to Texas somewhere to figure out how to bring more water into our area. Of course, that is probably going to come with a price, but it's a price that many of us would be willing to pay if we know that that will sustain the future for my children and for the children, for our posterity.
Aaron, you want to go next, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So I have spoken to commission members of the SNWA and to get the PowerPoint overbrief on what's happening with the lake and some of the perspectives that SNWA has for it. And like Ali said, we're in good shape. We are literally leading the Colorado users of the lower basin, the Colorado users of that, Arizona, California, New Mexico, all the other states. We are leading them in water conservation. Why does it keep on dropping? Because we have users of that really, really don't care about the water level of that lake. We are going to be fine. The third straw that was just built is 30 feet below dead pool. When water stops flowing south of the dam, we will still be able to draw water off of that lake. No one wants to see that river go dry. No one. So there's going to be some involvement in it. One of the things I've always said, and I get a little chastised with after our first meeting, and I talked about it's not our fault, all that stuff, right? I got a beat down from that. But the reality is that we are doing really, really, really well in putting water back into that lake. Right around 90 to 95% of the water we take in goes right back into that lake after treatment. So we need to lead that to everybody else, saying we've got it figured out. Now it's taken us 20 years to get there, but we've got it figured out. The rest of you guys need to figure it out too and get on board. And that's where we need to do. And we're probably going to need congressional help to do so, is to get a little bit of influence from them also. Why is the water bills going up? It's a utility, brother. It's it's a utility. They got, like Ali said, they got bills to pay too, and the only way they can do it is by essentially raising taxes and taxing your water consumption. There might be a psychological effect to that too. If it costs more money, maybe you'll stop using as much. I don't know. One of the things I say that SSNWA can do is start buying land in the Imperial Valley and grow nothing.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll go with the same order. Mr. Friends.
So there's an entire group of Nevadans that are neglected in Henderson people too. Everybody talks about finding revenue, finding ways to help mental illness, homelessness, drug abuse, things like that. What if I told you there was a really simple way to solve that with a lot of people? And that would be simply to tax and regulate sex workers. They would stop using drugs. They'd stop getting abused by their pimps. They would find homes because they now have reputable income. You would create jobs to where they have to get tested. You have to have an administration for that. You have to have a building for that. You have to have somewhere they can go to get a work card. Would that be something you'd be interested in looking into with your constituents, is regulating and taxing it so that we can get these workers off the streets and homes and get them the health care that they need?
I'm willing to look into it, to decriminalize, I don't call it sex workers, but just people, trying to make a living. But my concern is that the exploitation of women, the exploitation of children. Okay, so this is a very difficult topic, an age-old situation. But if somebody wants to do a study on it, like what they call, with the internet and everything else, they have a meetup system or what have you, instead of the traditional prostitution type of thing, right? And but something to look into. I'm also a libertarian, so people should be responsible. But there's a lot of concerns about potential crime and potential of exploitation of children, trafficking and things like that. So it's a tough situation. But I'm not close-minded on it. I have no religious opposition to it, anything like that.
Okay. Mendoza?
So thank you, because this is something, as the mother of two small girls, where I would personally like to see sex workers in terms of the prostitutes that you see on Boulder Highway, where they're not in any safe entity, where they're not housed somewhere and where they don't have any protection. Not that those women have a lot of protection, but I don't want to see sex working in terms of prostitution made legal personally. Now, for the places where it is legal, so again, that's not in the city of Henderson, but as you go north in Nevada, you've got the brothels and places like that. I have no problem taxing them. Oh my goodness. Tax the heck out of them, and let's get some money and some funds to help with things such as the mental health and all of that. I mean, we tax marijuana, we tax alcohol, we tax cigarettes, we tax all of that stuff. So if this is another source for money and women who are of a legal consenting age can opt to do it, go for it. Put policies in, tax the heck out of them, make people pay for it so that we can, in fact, better our community and hopefully get tougher on that illegal prostitution, on people who go after children for the child sex workers and stuff like that, because that I am not in any manner okay with. As again, as a parent, as a female, and as a mother to children, that's something that scares the Jesus out of me with my children, and facing the fact that that is something that is so prolific here in the Las Vegas Valley.
I feel that the legalization of the sex trade in the state of Nevada or here in Clark County is a discussion that would happen at the county level, not necessarily at the city level. I'm concerned a little bit about the thought that we're doing this. I like the thought that we're doing this because it shows a level of humanity to get some women off the street, to end some of the sex trafficking. The human trafficking that is happening is prolific in the valley right now. But I don't think I wouldn't support it because for a tax initiative. That doesn't. You're just as a need to tax something. I would look at it more of the humane aspect of how can we make this safer for them. Sex trafficking, human trafficking is horrific here. We deal with it constantly as a profession, and it's something that we battle regularly. To have the conversation, we have the conversation with the county, if it looks like the appropriate thing to do, then I'm always in favor of doing the right thing.
All right. Well, we're continuing at a very brisk pace here. Lieutenant Cardinale.
Thank you. I'd like to talk about police hiring for just a moment, because that is an issue with Metro, Henderson, North Las Vegas. The employers claim that they're having a tough time finding applicants, which I believe they are, because of the political view of policing and a lot of the negativity, and also the pay and benefits hasn't really gone up in a long time. But what I'd like to point out is, if you look around the country, there are other states that are offering hiring bonuses. They're offering $5,000. If you come from another state, they give you $10,000. And interestingly, in this state, I don't believe that a lot of the employers like to have senior employees, because their pay goes up and they're a little more difficult to deal with because they've been around for a while. But there's a number of states that are offering bonuses for senior officers to commit to stay for 2 years. For example, they'll give you $12,000 or $15,000 if you'll sign an agreement saying you agree not to retire for 2 years. And the thinking is you can maintain your police force while you're trying to hire and train new police. In this state, everyone who makes a purchase pays for more cops. Our state tax is higher because the legislature agreed to legislation that makes our state taxes higher just to pay for new police officers and for their equipment. And in most cities, they also have seat tax, which you cannot get without a police department, and tax overrides. For example, in North Las Vegas, they have some of the highest tax overrides called the public safety tax. The public safety tax, the more cops, and the seat tax pulls in millions, tens of millions of dollars a year. I know because I was a union president in that city. I know what I'm talking about. And over a few years, 100, 200 million. So my rhetorical question is, if all that money's coming in and they're having trouble hiring, why are they not using bonuses? Why are they not retaining employees? And so what's happening to the money? My question to you as potential Henderson City Council members is, would you be willing to create a resolution or an agenda item with working with your management and your finance to find a way to approve hiring bonuses, retention bonuses, and possibly moving bonuses to get more police officers into the city so we can keep it at number 2 in the country as the safest in Henderson?
Okay, who would like to go first? Let's have the officer respond.
Great question. Of course, that hits near and dear to my heart. Being in law enforcement myself, of course, I would support any initiative that would attract more people to Southern Nevada to deal with the shortage of police officers. And I'm not just talking about Henderson. I'm also talking about North Las Vegas Metro. The recruitment effort really needs to become a regional thought process and not a competition between the agencies in the valley. Henderson specifically, absolutely. We don't have a hiring bonus in my city, but we do start laterals officers at a higher step when they come in. So it's kind of like a bonus, but we don't start them at the ground if they come with some experience. And that has been fruitful for us. We've done it for a couple employees now, and the word's starting to get out. So we're starting to see more traction with more money, more bonuses. So if the money is available, because you have these vacant funded positions, why not take some of that money this year and redo some of the stuff? It's a great thought. Why not? Other people are doing it. It's being successful. So yes, I would support something like that. I'd support, but I understand I'd support any resolution that would bring more police officers. By the way, more firefighters also into this community.
Okay, Ms. Nelson.
So I am going to give Mr. Aaron Johnson here a big shout out and a thank you, because I know that the police work is hard regardless of where you do it. Now, I spoke with you guys earlier. My husband is a recently retired Henderson police officer, and I have talked to them. Our police officers internally had a very rough time getting federal money that was set aside for bonuses for them actually to our police officers, which is a huge issue with the internal network of our city. So to answer your question point blank, absolutely. I am all in favor of, especially if we've got all of this funds that are coming in intended for public safety, to take those funds and use them appropriately to recruit reliable and responsible and experienced first responders across the board. Like Aaron said, police, fire, paramedics, dispatchers, all of them. I am all for doing that. We've got to understand that as a city, our pay has not gone up. Our police officers, our fire, our first responders, their pay has not increased with the cost of living expenses or just with general living expenses. So we've got to look into that, because if you are a young person going out trying to get into this career and you go, oh, well, the city of Henderson is starting me at $34, but the city of North Las Vegas starts theirs at $36. While $2 may not seem like a lot of money to our older councilmen who are sitting on council who don't have to worry about finances because their homes and everything else are already paid off, that makes a difference when you're a 22, 23, 24-year-old kid going, oh, hey, $2 more an hour, that's this much more a month. I can go on this many more vacations and have this much more of a luxurious life. So absolutely, I am all in favor, again, of any type of regulation that will bring in qualified people to help promote our public safety.
I have a different approach. Let's go back to America in 2020 in the summer of love. That's when the rioters burned down the city, burned down police stations. Ever since the summer of love, there was defunding the police, all kind of attack on the blue. That's why a lot of people don't want to become, policemen and everything. So we got to make a promise that I'm not in favor of that section in the George Floyd that will take the protection of police. A police officer could be sued, according to the legislation that is still not passed. I hope it will not pass in Washington. And so to encourage people to come into the police department, I believe in social justice, like I said the last time. America has changed. You can't just shoot people to kill. Let's try to shoot the legs or something. We don't want any riots or anything like that. We don't want the city of Henderson to get sued. There's other approach, different approach to it. So my concept is to reform public safety. Public safety is the police department, the fire department, and we can have non-carrying weapon police force to assist. Okay, let's explore something like that. Let's explore public safety. And I'm in favor of that thing that they talk about, the robot killer. Remember the robots that can be used just in case to protect policemen, to go into a very difficult area to protect police. And I'm in favor of looking into it. So our concept of police enforcement should be changed to go along with what's going on in America now. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I believe Captain Kelly is up next.
One of the most hallmark concepts of our democracy, our great republic, is civilian control of the armed forces. It won't change. It must be. It is the way it must be. public safety, and I mean the entire apparatus, not just our police departments, fire department, marshals, etc. They have to have better, in some ways, informed citizens, because I think we have two problems. Number one, the citizens don't necessarily know what's right or what's wrong. They see something or they hear something and they don't realize there's more to the story. A couple of years ago, we had a conversation with a former assemblyman, Tom Roberts, and what's very interesting that the only jurisdiction that has a civilian review board in accordance with NRS 289 is Metro. None of the municipalities have a civilian review board in accordance with NRS 289. None of the municipalities have I don't believe have an advisory panel that allows the citizens to have collaborative discussions with their police leadership in order to inform the citizenry, as well as to have them inform police executives, as well as senior city management staff about what the needs of the community. My question to all of you is, what are your opinions about, first of all, implementing a sort of a complaint review board in the city of Henderson in accordance with NRS 289, as well as bringing together some sort of collaborative board that allows citizens to offer their input about public safety? There are reforms that have to be made, but they have to be reasonable, because public safety, reality is this: if you have poor public safety, you're not going to have successful businesses. You're not going to have successful schools. You're not going to have successful lives. So you have to, public safety, a strong public safety apparatus is an imperative. What are you going to do to make sure that citizens, the residents, the people that are out there paying taxes, actually have input in what their public safety system will look like?
Okay, actually, why don't we begin with, of course, one of the top cops.
So the civilian review board for Henderson would be a conversation that I'd want to have with Mr. Derrick and the next chief of police. That's okay. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. So Mike, just to answer your question, I would want to have that conversation with the city manager and the next chief of police about a civilian review board, and that is specifically because we want to make sure that the chief of police is managing the police department and not rhetoric or comments from the civilian community, but to be collaborative and have those discussions. Those are something that I would encourage emphatically, without a doubt. And that is done very, very well in Henderson. The Henderson Police Department have a great relationship with their community. Matter of fact, the agencies in Clark County have a great relationship with their community, which is why during the Floyd movements and the Black Lives Matter movements, the protestings that were had were rather civil. There were some issues. We did have officers get shot. The federal courthouse was done, but comparatively to Seattle, Portland, to Minneapolis, to Maryland, we kept that collaboration. We've had those outreach programs, and they're there and they're vibrant. They really, really are. And if you're not seeing it in Henderson, I'd be more than happy to take you around and show you what some of the things that are going on with some of the community outreach programs that are continuing to happen right now.
Fantastic. Ms. Nilson.
Yes, so I actually, Mike, want to commend you because you got on a very cyclical talk about how public safety is the basis and how if we don't have a safe community, businesses and education and all of that falls. And so that has actually been my big platform for a long time, is recognizing that public safety is the foundation on which everything else has to be built. So thank you for bringing that up. I am in complete agreement with that. Now, the city of Henderson, while we don't have a review board, we do have an advisory board that was created not too long ago, where we've got community members who serve on this board and who come and they meet. I'm not sure if it's monthly or quarterly, but they do meet with the police admin and talk about ideas, thoughts, things that they have going on. So we do have an advisory board. That being said, I am not positive in terms of how diverse it is, if there's exactly how diverse that board sits. So I would look into that. But the other big thing, and Aaron brought it up, the city of Henderson actually has done a very great job. We offer a Citizens Academy that I was able to go through a few years ago that's free to anybody who lives or who works in the city of Henderson. So they've got that. But you had also brought up the education of the citizens, right? You had said, it's got to stay kind of the way it is because you can't have people who don't understand what's going on being the ones making the rules. And so that is something that, again, I agree with and I appreciate. And with that, I would love to see us educate our citizens better in terms of if there is mass chaos or a big situation. I know Boulder City recently had calls coming in about school shootings, I believe, correct? So what we need to do better, in my opinion, is we need to talk to the community. Me as a mother, if I hear, hey, my kid's school is getting shot up, you get lines of parents that just creates even more chaos and prevents our law enforcement officials from doing their job and from keeping us safe. So I would love to see us create more opportunities to educate in areas where our police officers feel there is a need.
And we're done. Mr. Hamilton.
Yes, so far, I believe, Henderson is doing a good job in police-community relations. So I'm not in favor of creating like what is suggested in the NRS, the review board, because when you look at what's going on in the country, that is the instrument for the protesters to use. It is so politically charged. So I don't want to create another bureaucracy, but I do believe that the city council should get involved more in police community relation. Okay, currently the chief of police reports to the city manager and city manager to the council. I like to see the council to get more involved, getting more technology for our police force and more education. Like I said, social justice is the key word today. You see all this shooting and the Tyree Nichols and everybody else that's creating riots and stuff. We don't have it here. We want to keep it that way. We want to keep it peaceful and a highly educated police department. And so I don't see any need for a review board, which is too politically charged. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, panel members, I just need to interrupt real quick. So Mrs. Fixit will ask her question, and then we'll have time for one more panel member's question, and then we'll have to wrap it up. So you guys can decide amongst yourself who wants to ask the last question. I get plenty of time to talk, so I don't have any more questions. Mrs. Fixit?
It was actually, if I remember correctly, Mr. McDonald's turn.
I'm sorry, Mike.
Actually, I think we're actually going very quick, and I really appreciate the candidates sticking within the time. You've been doing a fantastic job, so I think we have time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you, panel members. I know you got a bunch of tough questions, and you're doing a great job. So I've got a couple of things to segue off of that. 50% of over 50% of Nevada's budget is actually the Department of Safety. So we have the judges, the cops, the laws, all the judicial system to protect our laws. But my question to you guys is, housing is is a huge issue here in the city of Las Vegas, out in Henderson. We have an influx of homelessness, and it's causing a lot of crime and different things to happen when people are breaking into businesses and having issues. From what I've heard from constituents before, one of my district was out here in Henderson as well. And one of the issues is the housing. Finding affordable housing is very hard to come by. There's 2-year waiting list in almost any nonprofit. The Courtyard had a great idea, but it's very just giving a mat until 6 a.m. and pulling it away isn't helping address those programs or concerns. Now, Metro actually implemented a couple of programs because before they would go and mass incarcerate people. So if they were homeless, they would go out there and they'd throw them in jail, get them three hots and a cot. And that mass incarceration was causing a ripple effect and devastating families or fathers and other needs. So my question to you guys would be, what would you do to address housing and budgetary requirements, maybe a community or allowing more housing? Also short-term rentals such as Airbnb. I don't know if the laws have cracked down and changed that, where it even makes housing even harder to find. and they allow code enforcement to go out there and charge people for massive amount of fines for any violations. I believe that they should lax that and encourage housing and encourage community development and bring homeless or some kind of community living or high rises as a good option as well. So what would you guys do to address the big need for housing and for short-term rentals and allowing the budgetary requirements for that? Thank you.
Mr. Hamilton,
If I can go first, thank you. As I said many times before, I want to be the champion of this ward. This is the Ward 1, is the one that's been left behind for decades, okay? And we are getting development now over here. So the city, through the Planning Commission, controls the way homes are built, okay? They control that. How many bedrooms it should have, how big it should be. It can't be any smaller than this. So as your councilman, I will be the champion for affordable housing. And you can do that because there are a lot of developers that want to come here, but they don't want to, the return on investment is lower, if they build some other home. So I will be proactive in getting federal grant, state grant to help developers to build affordable housing. Like I said, maybe some trailer area, manufactured homes. I'm not into this snobbish idea, but a home should look like $1 million. A home is a place to stay, safe place. So I'm in favor of relaxing the building codes. I'm not talking building codes of safety and everything, but I have no problem building like a dormitory type of housing, like a dorm, 500 square feet, 400 square feet with a bathroom and little kitchenette. That's fine, but people can use that better than living on the street. So, and in Ward 1 here, we go from Lake Mead all the way down to Boulder City, east of 95, a little bit of west of 95 by Nevada State College. Nevada State College will become Nevada State University. I want to build a college town there with affordable housing. So through the Planning Commission and zoning, we can create affordable housing. I'm going to focus on that. I'm not going to insist on 3,000 square feet homes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Nilson?
So again, thank you so much for that question because I love it. If you look on my interview that I did previously with Jim and with Steve, I actually talked about this. So if I were to be a councilwoman, I would actually love to be put on the Development Association and the housing with all of that because our world is changing, okay? We are not, the generation that's up and coming is not the same as our parents and it's not the same as our grandparents. And because of that, because we've got a lot of people who came from other generations who feel like, okay, this is what a house should be, this is how a house should look, they're losing a lot of this up and coming generation and what we want and what we would like to see and what we need in housing. So as said, building up, recently I've attended both Henderson Development Association meetings, I've attended Las Vegas development meetings, and they're projecting that with our current in Henderson, with our current zoning, that all of our land will be purchased within 5 years. If we continue to annex, they're giving us about 10 years between all of the available land to build on is zoned and is bought up by developers. So I would like to be on the council so that I can ensure we do have genuine affordable housing going in for our senior population who's living on a fixed income, who maybe doesn't need a large 3 or 4 bedroom home anymore. For our college students, which Cadence actually does have a dormitory area going in their Cadence development, which I love and I'm a huge fan of because again, you're bringing college students who are working on bettering themselves in the community into the community and allowing them to live there in a great place with a lot of luxuries and accommodations that we have here in Henderson. So in terms of what I would like to see and what I would do, I would absolutely advocate for more of those master plan styled communities that have short walking distances that allow that great quality of life while ensuring that we have the appropriate housing for those who are still in need and that it is affordable.
Great comments, guys. The affordable housing issue is a big topic that we're all seeing right now as we're heading out in the campaign trails and the discussions and how it is. And I'll tell you, the funding is there. It is available. My wife happens to manage about $52 million in grant funding for homeless initiatives. It is there. It is how are we going to get it is the question, and those are the conversations that I'll definitely have when I get elected to council. Where they're going to go is going to be the next question. No one wants this in their backyard. Ward 1 is a very diverse community. We have 3 rural neighborhood developments in our ward, but we do need affordable housing. We are also have some of the lowest lowest income bracket in some of the houses down Center Street and Basic and Burkholder in that area there. But working with HUD, working with the urban housing development folks to get some of these affordable housing in place, we can do it. I know they're there. It's just a matter of having that conversation.
Okay. And I guess our final moderator question will be delivered by Ms. Ivanov.
Hi. I have different questions for the different candidates, but I will ask it one at a time so the other don't have enough time to think their answers. So for Mr. Hamilton, as you mentioned, this is not your first rodeo. Why would people want to vote for you? What makes you the best choice for this particular job?
Okay, as I said, I believe in participatory democracy. In our democracy, you vote when the cycle comes up. That's why my name on the ballot will be Eddie. Every cycle, Hamilton. I run for public office. I believe in democracy. Not only that I vote, but I run for public office. Sometimes take abuses from the media. That's fine. You got to do that. If you want to build America into a democratic society, everybody has to get involved, okay? And I'm willing to do that. And in this particular one, I was endorsed by the Review Journal the last time I ran against an extremely powerful candidate, incumbent Jerry Schrader. And I came in second. And currently, with the opportunity that the voters have given us, meaning voting by ward. It used to be the whole city will pick who's going to represent Ward 1, okay? I mean, you got to live here, but normally when that happens, the developers pick you, okay? And now the voters change that. We in this community, 53,000 active voters can elect our own ward like they do in Las Vegas, I believe, in North Las Vegas, I believe. Finally, it's coming here. So I want to be the champion of this ward. This ward should not be left behind. I'm committed to it. I'm committed from East Lake Mead right here all the way down to Boulder City border there. Developing a college town, Nevada State University. We are the proud home of a university, 20,000, pretty soon 30,000 student, Nevada State University. Hopefully Governor Lombardo and the legislature will grant that because they have graduate school now. And also developing this downtown area with like a college town with a lot of businesses, with the more relaxed regulations, so more affordable homes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My question for Ms. Nilson is, when you were saying your resume, you were part of this group and that group and that group and that group, and also you have 3 kids, I believe you said. Why should the people vote for you? How are you going to find the time for this job? What makes you the best candidate for the job?
I love this question because I feel like it gives me 2 chances to make a closing statement. So I genuinely believe that I am the best candidate for the city of Henderson because of how closely tied I am across the board everywhere. Like I said, I've got a mother in education, so I understand the problems that our teachers are facing. I serve on the city of Henderson's Parks and Recreation Board. It's a position that gets assigned and designated by council members. It's not a paid position or anything. So I get to see the development that's going on for our community involved with the parks and with the operations and with the access that they have to different activities. You are not going to find anybody in the city of Henderson that's currently running for this council position that can relate more closely to you as an individual than me. Like I said, my husband worked in public safety. We have small businesses. And because of all of the time that I have taken to intentionally devote and to intentionally get involved in these communities and in these organizations so that I do understand on both a small, intimate level as well as a large view what our city needs and what's going on, I feel like I'm the best candidate. I feel like there's no question about my loyalty to the city and about how invested I am, again, with willing to put all of my time. So I would step away from my job. I would be removed from some of these board positions, which would only free up even more time for me to serve and to get closely related to my community and to understand what they need and what they want. And obviously what we as a ward deserve to have for our children and our friends and our family in this community. So thank you for that question.
Thank you.
And for Mr. Johnson, you are in the Boulder police, not in the Henderson police. Some people have an issue with that. What makes you the best candidate, and how come you didn't have your career within the Henderson Police Department?
Well, I didn't start my career at the Henderson Police Department because I wouldn't be eligible to run for council. It's a violation. It's an ethical issue. So I knew I was going to do this down the road. No, I'm just kidding. I was attracted to Boulder City because I'm from a small town, and Boulder City is a small town. I love it immensely, but I live in Henderson because of the resources and the diversity that is offered in Henderson. I raised my family here, and because I'm not a Henderson police officer, I wouldn't be eligible to have this. I wouldn't be sitting here right now if I was an employee with the city of Henderson. I wouldn't be eligible to do it. What makes me the best candidate is I don't come to this with a personal agenda. I didn't start this race with an idea that I had something to achieve or something to accomplish. It was brought to my attention that there was a need, and they felt that I could address that need on their behalf, and that's why I'm in this race now.
Thank you very much. Well, I guess
Hey,
now
Isaac, we'll cut it down to 2 minutes for closing statements since they already kind of did. But all kidding aside, just for the candidates though, with your closing questions, please, if you haven't learned this by now, contact information. Remember, we're live on YouTube, and we're being taped on YouTube, and live on Facebook. So take this 2-minute opportunity to make sure you get all that information out you want.
Okay, fantastic. So you have 2 minutes to wrap it up. Do I have a volunteer, or should I just go ahead and do the eating, meeting, mine, mo?
All right, I can start quickly. I want to thank my fellow candidates for showing up. The other 4, I just don't want to tell you what they stand for. Okay, so congratulations. We are the 3 amigos here in a Mexican restaurant. You can't do any better than that. So, I said I have 2 college degrees. I'm a small businessman, so I have knowledge on economics, politics, international, shooting the balloon that should have been shot over Alaska. I know all that. And we want Henderson to be the best, safest city. Okay, and to do that, we must have a police chief that will be approved by the whole council, not ahead of it. The council is not fully seated now. So I want to do that. I want the police person who's knowledgeable about social justice. We don't want to start any rioting here, any shooting or anything like that, like the Terry Nichols. So something accountable for that. I want affordable housing for veterans, for young people, for seniors, for, just affordable housing. And Ward 1 is the place to do it. Thank God for the voters to make Ward 1 now. We have a chance to advance. We've been the stepchild for the whole city so far. We've been left behind. So if you want to contribute, you can do it on Venmo, which is the Cash App from PayPal. Go to Venmo if you have an account. Use my phone number, 702-752-0016, or my email, gohamiltongo@gmail.com. So you can send $1, $2, or up to $10,000. The limit for this thing is $10,000 because we have no primary. So thank you again. I'm seeking your endorsement. I appreciate VIPI. Steve Sanson, I've known him for decades. And I appreciate the veterans. I'm always for you.
That?
Thank you.
Thank you again, Aaron. So he's holding that up. I know this here says Alisha. That is my full name. But if you would like to look into me and to find some where I stand, what my policies and things I'm going to concentrate on, it's at alinilson.com. So right there, alinilson.com. Thank you again, Aaron. So again, I feel that I am, and I know that I am the best candidate for the city of Henderson because of how closely intertwined I am to the city. The city is my everything. It has my heart. It has my soul. It has all of my time, all of my development, all of my resources will be poured into this city with love and with a desire not to just hear you, but to understand what your needs are. I'm positive that I am going to be the one that's most fully invested and committed to our city and to this position as we move forward as a council. Again, I love this city. I need the city to be safe. My children are growing up here. The water's been brought up. I need to make sure that this town is beautiful and prosperous for all of the generations to come. And that includes looking at the safety. As said, the safety has to be the foundation on which everything's built on. Our education system has to get better, or we're going to have all of these businesses are just going to run away because we're not able to develop the employees that they need. And our businesses have to be supported. They have to be supported so that they're prosperous, and so that we can get the finances that we need as a city to pay for things, again, such as the infrastructure, our roads, such as our education, and everything else that comes in here. So again, I am so grateful for you guys for taking the time out of your day to come and to listen to us and to ask us these questions. And if you've got any further questions for me, don't hesitate. Again, it's alinilson.com. I've got my phone number and all of my other contact information up there. So thank you so much for taking your time to listen with us.
And thank you very much. Commander Johnson.
Thank you, everybody, for coming today. We really appreciate your time. Veterans in Politics, again, it was the first organization that I reached out to for their endorsement. I agree with Mr. Hamilton. There's only 3 people in this race right now, and that's the 3 of us sitting at this table. I just want to let you know that before I forget it, voteaaronjohnson.com is my webpage. Voteaaronjohnson@gmail.com is my email. Like me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook. It's always a real fun to see different postings on there and some words of encouragement. I've only got one thing: take down the sign. I can't see the street yet, so I've gotten that one, but his sign is down. So I wanted to let you know that who I'm already endorsed by. Although I came to you first, other people have stood up in support of me. I am endorsed by the Henderson Police Officers Association. I'm endorsed by the Henderson Police Supervisors Association. I'm endorsed by the Boulder City Police Supervisors Association. I'm endorsed by the Henderson Firefighters. I am endorsed by Teamsters Local 14. And if you really think about that, that is the bulk of the rank and file of the City of Henderson employees that are standing up with me in this campaign. I am also endorsed by the Veterans Chamber, which is a veterans group. They said they would back me. I am seeking the endorsement of the Henderson Chamber of Commerce. And then this group here today is the highlight really so far, because it's come full circle for me. I started with you, and now I'm ending my endorsement campaign with you guys. I really, really thank you for your time today, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess I'll make the concluding statements here. To begin, hey, it's been a very brisk discussion. And I hope I want to thank, of course, everybody who's watching this live, and everybody who takes the time, even if it's not live, to go ahead and download it and watch it. I think we've had a fantastic conversation with 3 outstanding candidates who took their time to come down. I want to thank again, for, of course, all the panelists who took their time to come by and ask some very interesting questions. Our timekeeper, who also happens to be our sponsor, right? Miss Stephanie Phillips for the U.S. Senate. She did a fantastic job with that time. And of course, we have our other sponsor, which I don't see him now, Mr. Ron Quince. Maybe he's still in the building. Maybe he's getting some fajitas. We want to thank him as well. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here. I've been your moderator, Isaac Barone, in the city of North Vegas. Just for you guys to know, the city of North Vegas and the city of Henderson, we do share lots of things together. So it's been, for me, it's been very illuminating actually getting a chance to come down and see here our brothers and sisters on this side of the valley. And of course, we will wish everyone a fantastic candidate season. Everyone who's watching, please take the time to get out and vote, educate yourselves, watch this, and definitely look for more from Veterans in Politics International. Thank you so very much.